As you've probably seen by now, Minecraft have added a bunch of new baby mob designs into the game, and they look absolutely adorable. At first, I honestly thought it sounded really stupid that they were redesigning them, but then I loaded up a world and I absolutely love them. Apart from shelves, this is definitely one of my favourite updates in a very long time. In fact, you know it's a good update when I actually make a video on it, because I never normally do this. But when I saw how cute they are, I came to the realization that a lot of people are going to want these animals as pets. And so today, I've decided to design one pet room for each of the new baby mob types. Now the first few room types that I'm going to show you are all designed to be inside of a house, so I've just kind of made a small makeshift room, but you could take any aspects of this and put it into your actual house. And then the room types that I show you after are going to be like entire units that you could build in your garden, or just anywhere really. Starting off with, I want to show you a very basic dog room. Now this is perfect for puppies as it's got loads of sofas, which I always think any room for dogs should have. And there's also this small kennel thing in the corner, which could go outside, you know, it kind of works either way. And then there's a dried ghast over here, which I think looks really cool as a dog toy. There are a few other small details in this room as well, like the dog food bowl. I also made a second version, which I think looks a bit more realistic. And it's just made by putting a decorative pot one block under the floor, and then you just place a carpet on top, and it just shows the top section. I think it looks really neat as a food bowl. But all in all, I think this room looks really cool for puppies, and they seem to enjoy it, so I think that's a win. Moving on though, we next have a room for cats. Now obviously I'm starting off with the more basic pet types, but obviously as I go on, we'll go for more interesting pets. But I think this kitten room might be one of my favorites. I think the best part about this room is definitely the cat scratching tower. It works really well as like a main centerpiece of the room. There are all these scratching posts on it and loads of scaffolding for them to climb up. And I think the coolest part is definitely this rail, which kind of looks like a ramp for them to get up onto the tower. There's also, like the room before, a giant cat bed, but there's also a smaller one as well, which their mum's sitting on at the moment. One slightly more unique thing to this room is the scratching post over here. I actually used a pig underground, which is on a lead, and I attached the lead to the fence to look like the kind of bit that you scratch on the scratching post, and I think it looks really cool. But yeah, I really like this room. I definitely think if I built a survival house, I'd put a room like this in it, just filled with cats. Moving on to the next design though, we have the pig room. And you might be thinking that pigs belong outside, but I actually looked into it and people have pet pigs, just like really small pigs that they have living in their house. So I thought, why not? There's quite a lot going on in this room, so I'll go like one by one for each major thing. There's obviously a pig bed over here, and then I don't know why, but when I heard they were adding new baby pigs, the first decoration idea I thought of was like a small crib for baby pigs to sleep in. Like a baby crib, but for piglets. And I think they look so cute in there. And the other good thing is they can't escape, because unlike cats, you can't really tame them and make them sit. So they're trapped in there, but I think they're having a nice time. These pigs are having a much nicer time though, because they're in a ball pit. I was just kind of Googling for what baby pigs like to play with, and according to Google, they love to play in ball pits. And so I Google image searched it just to like check, because I thought that sounded really false. And it's true, like there's just loads of images of pigs in ball pits. So that's what I've built over here, and I think it looks quite cute. And then there's just like a small child's den over here, which apparently they also really like to play in. It's just made using some carpets, some strings, some banners. And the banners go underground by a block, and then you can just place the carpet on top. But yeah, it's just a really nice small design for a den. I definitely don't think anyone's going to build this exact room in their house, but you could definitely take elements to put in your house if you want to have a pet pig in your house now. Do make sure to comment if you're going to take any of these designs for your house. But now moving on to the more outdoors kind of locations. This one had a bit of a leaking issue, but I fixed it. We have first of all the chicken coop, and I really like this design. I really didn't know what to build for it, so I looked online and I found an image of a chicken coop that I kind of stole the layout of, and so this is what we have. Inside there's the main chicken area, kind of where they just kind of roam around in the dirt. But then there's these small doors that the chickens can go through to get into the main egg hatching area. And this is where the image really helped out, because it helped me know what kind of things would be in a chicken room. There's a whole egg laying area where I used loads of eggs and shelves just to kind of portray what the area is. And there's also this giant area for pooing in, I guess. And there's this small food bowl as well, which just kind of hangs down from the ceiling, which I think looks really neat. As much as I had no clue what a chicken coop's meant to look like, you can definitely tell it's a chicken coop now that it's done. I really like how this one came together. It's obviously quite a large scale, but I think it kind of has to be, seeing as Minecraft mobs are kind of bigger than they'd be in real life. Now these are two rabbit hutch designs. I decided to make two, seeing as they were so small, but it's the same kind of concept, just with a slight different tweaks on the designs. This one's got a much more modern design with these really white walls and this green roof. And if you go inside, it's pretty much what you'd expect from a rabbit hutch. Just like the chicken coop, there's this area over here for them to just kind of walk around. And then I can't really get in, but up here, there's just a small bed for them and a food bowl. Let me just break through the wall actually. There you go. And then moving to the slightly darker design, it's pretty much the exact same thing inside. There's not really much else to see, but this one seems to be keeping the mobs in a bit better. And then upstairs, just like the last one, there's another bed area in this one as well. Moving on to my favorite design, this one's actually for calves. And as you can see, they're trying to escape. I added these trapdoors on because originally they escaped everywhere. But that's what happens when you make these really last minute videos. I think this design looks really fun. It's basically just a smaller barn, and I think that really suits the fact that they're, just smaller animals. But going inside, this is definitely my favorite interior of any of these designs. I think it looks really neat in here. I do not know how that happened though. Oops. But this room just looks really cozy, which I think is absolutely perfect, and it includes everything that a baby cow would need. You've got a small drinking area over here for them, as well as a bunch of hay and some wood that they can play with. And then this is my favorite part over here. You got a jukebox, seeing as when I googled about cows, apparently they really like classical music. So I thought I'd throw in a jukebox and a note block. And there's also an allium. And I put alliums in all my builds because I just really like alliums. But it actually makes sense in this build, seeing as cows' favorite flowers are lavender, and this is kind of the closest you can get. But yeah, I just kind of really love this design. Even though baby mobs grow up in about 20 minutes, if you're breeding loads of mobs or just want a cool room for them to grow up in, this is definitely a really cool option. But moving on to the one last design that we've got on our list, we have this really neat building for lambs to live in. It's inspired by like a more industrial kind of shed that you'd normally find them living in on farms, but it's just been made to look a lot more modern and just more friendly rather than the really metallic industrial ones that you'd normally find. Moving inside, you can really see that, as it just looks really fun and vibrant in here. I kept the whole color scheme really light, and I think it just worked really nicely. It's very similar to the barn. It's also got very similar stuff inside, like a small bed area, as well as a sofa, a drinking area, and just a couple of plants around the room to tie it together quite nicely. I also found that sheep apparently really like to play with logs, so I just included a small log over here. So yeah, that was one room design for each of the new baby mobs. I really hope that you can take something away from this video if you choose to have one of the new baby mobs in your house. I really hope that we see more people having pet pigs, because people really need to be having pet pigs now. They're so cute. But I have a really big video coming out this Sunday, so please subscribe so you don't miss it. And I will see you soon, maybe. Goodbye.